Hi Whovians, Harry here, and ever since the Capaldi era, the TV ratings for Doctor Who have gone down, and that is a massive shame, as in my opinion, Capaldi's 12th Doctor has the best character arc of any Doctor ever, and it's just such a shame that a lot of people left after Tennant and Smith's Doctor and never got to saw this massive Doctor arc of course, the main character, and it fundamentally changed how the show was presented in the next era. And this video is going to go over why I think Capaldi's Doctor has the best character arc, and also why I think people stopped watching when he came on board as in the title role. But before we get into the video, don't forget to subscribe, also leave a like and comment down below, and let's get in to the video. So let's start with why people stopped watching after Smith left Doctor Who and Peter Capaldi assumed the title role. And I think this is a lot to do with the audience that were watching Doctor Who then. Probably the biggest audience watching Doctor Who at the time of Peter Capaldi's 12th Doctor was Generation Z. And they were more enamoured with the 10th and 11th Doctor because they were younger and the audience could more easily transplant themselves onto these younger actors of David Tennant and Matt Smith. And Peter Capaldi is the oldest Doctor, I think, ever to take on the role of the Doctor, even including the classic era of Doctor Who, not just to mention the modern era, which a lot of the new fans of this modern era wouldn't know, well, wouldn't have watched any episodes or maybe not even known about the classic Doctors before, of course, Christopher Eccleston's 9th Doctor. And so, of course, they saw these younger Doctors of 10 and 11 being charming, just well-liked, of course, not only in the TV show itself, but also outside the TV show, a lot of fans of course, 10 and 11, and also them being just charming and nice, likeable, all the characters seeming to, well, like these characters, and it made the audience like 10 and 11 respectively as well. However, you get on to 12, who is a more grumpy, stark contrast from his predecessors, and he is very grumpy. The characters take a while to get used to him, and he can be very blunt and almost sarcastic and narcissistic, which wasn't something we saw a lot in 10 and 11. Of course, they had outbursts of rage and fire, and also there were times where it was like, no, I am the best, everyone else is beneath me. However, it didn't come out as much as maybe it did more regularly in the 12th Doctor's era. However, I think by 12 starting out as blunt, being kind of cocky almost, it was such a good character arc to see him change and become more like his predecessors as he got further along in his era. However, with him being grumpy and really kind of almost unlikable to start with, a lot of people just left after watching the first episode of his, and that is a shame. But I was almost one of those people who stopped watching Doctor Who after the 12th Doctor. I hated Deep Breath for the longest time, and I still find it one of my lower liked episodes, but I like it for what it kind of introduced into Doctor Who, of course being the 12th Doctor, and I listened to the show. If you remember, at the end of Deep Breath, Clara gets a phone call, and we don't know who it is until she answers, and we hear the voice of Matt Smith, and then of course see him phoning Clara to say that he can feel his regeneration from, of course, the 11th Doctor to the 12th Doctor coming. And it's going to be a big one, and the Doctor is going to not be the same person he was when he was 11. And he says to Clara to give the 12th Doctor a chance. He is more scared than anyone else, so just give him a chance, stay with him, and by speaking to Clara, he is speaking to the audience as well. Stephen Moffat knows he is going in a wholly different direction than 10 and 11 were, and he knows that maybe not everyone will like it, but if they stick with this Doctor, they will be rewarded in a massive way. And I say that Stephen Moffat is right on the money. When I was watching the 12th Doctor, I really did not like him for the first series, and I kind of watched most of the episodes of his next series. I don't think I watched all of them when they were out, because I was kind of still like, I want to watch Doctor Who because I love Doctor Who, but I don't love this version of the Doctor. And I think a lot of fans around my age felt the same way. And of course that is reflected in the ratings. But I just thought, we still have the showrunner, of course being Stephen Moffat, and we still have the companion being Clara Oswald, and we had the previous Doctor, Matt Smith, telling us that we should give this new Doctor a chance. And I could see that the 12th Doctor, of course played by Peter Capaldi, was putting his absolute all into that role. And it came to one of the episodes in his second series, specifically the girl who died, to really cement it that this was the Doctor in my eyes. But of course we have to go over again how different this Doctor was. So first of all, this Doctor was blunt, grumpy. I mean, literally from his first appearance, when he's in the street and he's figuring out who he is. He says that he is Scottish and that he can really complain about stuff now. This is a Doctor who wants to complain about stuff, and it is perfectly summed up by just saying he's Scottish and he can complain about stuff now, like really complain about stuff. And also in his next episode, he literally says, what are you, Clara, to me? You're not my assistant. And then Clara goes, I'm his carer. And the 12th Doctor says, yeah, she's my carer, she cares, so I don't have to. He doesn't care at all. Even in that episode, he goes, there's no such thing as a good Dalek, there's just a malfunctioning Dalek. And it took Clara, the human heart of the show, which every companion is, to really drive it home to that Doctor that he is not anything special, and there can be good Daleks, and there can be good people, and you should care. And again, it comes to the episode, The Girl Who Died, for the Doctor to be like, I need to care now. And he does this by saving Ashilda, a Viking girl, and he does this by saying that he is the Doctor and he saves people. This is why he had Peter Capaldi's face, because the 10th Doctor saved Caecilius and his family, and Caecilius had the same face as the 12th Doctor. The 12th Doctor assumed this face so that even though this Doctor was more grumpy and kind of uncaring, he would discover why he got this face and what is it for, and it is to remind him that he is the Doctor and he saves people. And then even expanding beyond that, when we get to Series 10, Episode 1, the pilot, it shows that even though he is kind of still a bit uncaring, he is willing to take a chance on anyone. He takes a chance on Bill Potts. He has like this kind of adventure with her where she's kind of like a semi-companion, and he says, look, I can't have anyone discovering why I am. I don't want any more companions or any more adventures. So he goes to wipe her memory, but Bill talks him out of it, and he relents and says, okay, I'll let you keep your memories, and then changes his mind when Bill gets down the stairs, and in a bigger way, by saying, I'm sorry, that was wrong of me. Do you want to travel in the TARDIS with me and have more adventures? And it just goes to show how caring he actually has become. And even Bill comes to see his side of things. Actually, in the monk three-parter, in the third episode of that, when, of course, they've defeated the monks, Bill's like, why do you put up with us? Humanity sided with the monks, and you could have just let that happen, but why didn't you? And the Doctor goes, because every once in a while there's someone like you, and that's what makes the human race special. And it's really touching. It goes to show that this Doctor cares so much about his companions, maybe even more than 10 and 11. I mean, just look at the way 10 treated Martha and Mickey, and even when they came back, he didn't treat them better than other companions, whereas 12 cares about Bill as much as he did about Clara. Yes, he was a bit abrupt with Danny Pink, but he eventually came around to showing that this is a person Clara needed, whereas he didn't really show that kind of understanding with Martha and Mickey. And the 12th Doctor evolves even more than that, because in his final episode as the Doctor, of course, Twice Upon a Time, he tells the 13th Doctor that she shouldn't make the same mistakes as him, and tells her,
laugh hard, run fast, be kind.
And I think a lot of people realise that the 13th Doctor was kind. And even though the 13th Doctor's era wasn't the best era, the 13th Doctor is probably the most kind and nurturing of all Doctors. And she got that from 12. 12 learned that you have to be kind above all. Try to be nice, but never fail to be kind. And going from an arrogant, grumpy, complaining Doctor to one that instilled in his next incarnation to just be kind. I think that is the best Doctor Who character arc we have ever had. And maybe we ever will have. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know down in the comments below if you think more people should have watched the 12th Doctor's era. And also, if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like. Also subscribe and share it out. And I will see you in the next one.